Listening to Lao Kui's serious talk, the group wavered. High rewards don't come free. However, after returning, Xia Yong held a photo of his newborn, pleading with everyone, "Please help me." Little did they know, he had lost 2 unborn children before. This third child was hard won, and he certainly wasn't about to give up. Spotting his trembling hands, Ling suddenly suggested a brilliant plan. They could hold an exorcism ceremony. It's an ancient tradition from the East, in layman's terms, a way to butter up the gods for good luck. Lao Kui chimed in, "So, this is gonna cost us, huh?" Despite the pleading, everyone tried it. Rich people work fast. Xia Yong soon gathered all ritual supplies. Lao Kui specifically advised assembling 5 strapping young men for a speedy burial during the ceremony. With everything in place, Rum Deng kicked off the ceremony's opening tune, while the offering host drummed and chanted scriptures, and Ling slowly began her spiritual dance. As the ceremony progressed, Xia Yong, the grandson, hurriedly grabbed a shovel and whacked the tomb 3 times. This was just the start of the grave digging. Ling plunged a knife into the prepared wooden stake with gusto. The 5 sturdy men jumped into the pit and began digging. As time passed, a gigantic hole emerged before everyone's eyes. Finally, after much effort, they spotted the lid of the coffin. The ritual concluded swiftly. After salt was tossed, the workers retreated. Lao Kui and Rong Deng entered the pit, instantly feeling a chill. The two then began inspecting the coffin closely, and Rong Deng was astonished to find it was a highly valuable coffin, fit for war. But still, they needed to get that coffin ASAP. So with everyone's efforts, it was loaded onto a vehicle. Since Xia Yong didn't plan another safeguard, they'd send it to the crematorium. Lao Kui told Rong Deng to go first, warning, "Don't let anyone see the coffin." Rong Deng chuckled, claiming he had dealt with presidents in the past, so no worries there. Once Lao Kui left, he tossed a coin into the pit. The grave diggers resumed filling the pit, but what happened next was so bizarre it sent shivers down their spines. One worker finishing up suddenly found dark clouds gathering, and the wind howling. A moment later, it was as if a black cloud loomed overhead, while Lao Kui, who had just left, was startled by the sudden downpour and turned back. Rong Deng and his colleagues were startled by the scene, unclear on what was happening. Even their black clothes seemed to be dancing in fright. Rong Deng's heart raced as if it might jump out of his throat. Just then, a sinister energy swept in from outside. Wise ones say, rain on cremation day hinders the deceased from a good place, impacting descendants' fortunes. Regardless of Xia Yong, Lao Kui proposed placing the coffin in the morgue till the rain stopped. Although Xia Yong hesitated a bit, he eventually agreed, and with Rong Deng's maneuvering, a morgue they'd done business with for years agreed to their request, and the coffin was carefully placed inside. Lao Kui warned Rong Deng to stay alert and headed off to a nearby temple for intel, promptly leaving. Shortly after, the manager approached Rong Deng, noticing he hadn't eaten, urging him to eat, assuring no one would come. Rong Deng pondered and agreed, starving all day. So he went alone to a nearby restaurant. What's this? It's this easy? Little did he know, the manager eyed that lavish coffin with a greedy glint, suddenly dreaming of a big score. When Ling and Fen Jai arrived at the morgue, they found the coffin already pried open a crack. The scene shifted as Rong Deng and Lao Kui made their way to a hospital room, where they found a particularly pale Ling, who was bleeding from her nose, exclaiming, "A ferocious creature just burst out of the coffin." Meanwhile, in a mansion in Los Angeles, Xia Yong's father sat in a wheelchair, staring out the window. Just then, a low, ominous voice, filled with foreboding, called out the old man's name. Upon hearing this voice, the old man immediately exclaimed with surprise, "Father." Clearly, it was Xia Yong's deceased grandpa who had suddenly jumped out from the coffin. He knew that old geezer would sense his son immediately and ask him to open the window. As a gentle breeze slipped in, Xia Yong's father turned his head slowly, yet saw nothing at all. But in the reflection of the window, a terrifying shadow loomed. The old man seemed to sense something and approached the table, calling for his father, when suddenly, a cold, low voice rang in his ear. "There's so much delicious food here, yet I'm so cold and hungry, I can't eat a thing," he exclaimed. Then suddenly his hand shot towards the old man's chest. Then he gripped the old man's heart hard and snatched away his life. With the old man gone, the evil spirit targeted Xia Yong's mother dancing to TV. Little did she know, the wicked voice had already crept in, echoing through the lavish mansion with chilling wails. As the creature from the coffin frantically sought out its descendants, Lao Kui rushed to call Xia Yong. He quickly made his way to the hotel, but unbeknownst to him, Jia Yong was in the shower and couldn't hear his phone buzzing. Meanwhile, Hua Ling, Fen Jai, and Rong Den were busily preparing for a very special ceremony. They tied ropes around Feng Jai, determined to turn her into a container to summon and capture the escape soul. With everything set, Hua Ling began to fan the drums, and Feng Jai got into the groove. As Feng Jai leapt higher and higher, the ritual surged to a climax. Suddenly, something fell from their hands, launching the sword to pounce on Feng Jai. Feng Jai then lunged at Hua Ling with ferocity, but Rong Den caught her just in time. Staring down the menacing figure, Hua Ling showed no fear, and warned, "If you've got any grievances, deal with them and be on your way." To everyone's surprise, Feng Jai suddenly spoke in the old man's voice, "This is a total mess." From there, she began to vomit. Clearly, the Iamate Kito melt divided by her soul had departed, and meanwhile, Jia Yong finally received a call from Lao Qi. Lao Qi informed him over the phone that there was a bit of a situation and that he was on his way. Just then, a sudden knock came from the door. Jia Yong thought to head over and open it, only to be surprised that the voice outside was another Lao Qi, causing Jia Yong to jump back in fright.